before I get started, really. So I stopped wearing makeup. But that, a few other reasons. There it goes. Also, I have so much gratefulness to Anonymous today because this is beautiful. Love the new podium. Yes, love. Anonymous has been good to us this last year. 3 times with me, there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. So last week we started a month of talking about, it's our one time of year where we talk about prosperity. Well, we talk about prosperity and abundance all the time really, but it's the one time of the year that we really talk about money very specifically, and all of the things combined that flow through our lives when we're conscious of our connection with God, and how easily things flow through our lives when we're conscious of that connection. But I made a confession last week to all of you, and that is that I have been practicing this thing that I have named shallow-osophy. It's a new word. Because I have skirted for the last several years around sort of the edges of the practice, the spiritual practice of tithing. And I don't know if you've noticed, but skirts just don't work for me. So besides being immersed in the Prosperity Plus program, which I'm joining in doing with 2 classes a week, here's my reading list right now for those of you who like these things. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, Invisible Supply by Joel Goldsmith, Spiritual Economics by Eric Butterworth, Abundance is Your Right by Arthur Thomas, all sorts of things that show up. And then I just remembered this one actually that might interest you, some of you. It's called The Wisdom of Money, and it's written by Alice Bandy, who is Reverend Alice is the person who wrote the Rumi class that a whole bunch of you just participated in. So I'm full. Guess what? So we're going to talk about prosperity, we're going to talk about tithing, we're going to talk about living in this absolutely opulently free life, and we're going to talk about football. Surprise you. So, but here's the thing about all this that really comes to me more and more and more. You know, you can come here and get filled up and listen to me all you want every single week. And I love that and appreciate you for doing that. And we can talk about this all that you want. But until you actually get in the game yourself, until you actually get in the game, it's all just theory and kind of entertainment. You know what I said last week that I borrowed from Mary Morrissey, inspiration without action is just entertainment. You can come here and get inspired, but until you start the practice, until you pray, until you meditate, until you connect with God, until you actually put your money into it and tithe as a spiritual practice, it's all just entertainment. And that's okay. If that's what you want, that is totally okay. The thing is, we're about making conscious choices here. So what I challenge you just to say, here's my conscious choice. Either I'm in, or I'm not comfortable being all in just yet. See, God agrees. Now, it's really funny. I was at breakfast with a friend last week who doesn't attend church here, but knows some folks who do. And she had seen a couple who are taking the Prosperity Plus class on Wednesday nights. And she had spoken with them, and she was like, what the heck are you doing over there? You know, what are you doing? They are like having all this amazing change in their life, and their whole life has shifted and opened up in like the last month. And I was like, you know what? It has like a little bit to do with what I'm doing here. I'm just providing the material and here to open the doors and be a sounding board for that. But it has everything to do with the fact that they went all in. At the very beginning, in the first week, you know, and I have to say, they mentioned the other night that they were feeling tired at like 8:30, which was kind of unusual for them. And it's because the only time that they have quiet time in their life these days is at 3:30 in the morning, and that's when they get up to meditate. Because they looked out at the circumstances that they were in when they first started this and listened and said, you know what, these are the things that are currently operating in our lives, and we have a plan about that, but we made an agreement and a vision to move beyond that with themselves and with God, and they looked up from that and they created a vision, and they went all in and said, yes, we will do the meditation, we will write the tithing checks, even though it's scary sometimes. And we will move forward. And in a matter of 4 weeks, the life that they had is not recognizable compared to the life that they are having right now. And things are moving so rapidly that they're like, whoa! But they are in this total upward and outward expansion of consciousness, of their connection with God, of their faith, and in their relationship with each other. Which, you know, and when I watch people like that, and I go, wow, you know, it's an amazing privilege of the work that I do that I get to see that happen so often. But I also get to look at myself and say, how many of the commitments that I've made to myself or to God lately have I not kept? How many times did I skip meditation because I slept in, you know, or whatever that might be. And those are my own things to take care of, just as they are yours. But you know, one of the things that I hear really regularly from lots of people, especially around tithing and money, is when things change, I'll give more. When life is better, I'll give, I'll do, I'll play. When all these things change in my life, I'll do more. And that is not how the rules of the universe work. The rules of the universe are very clear and specific. Give first, take the step of faith first, meditate first, and then time appears. No one says receive and give. It's even in our languaging, we always say give and receive. That's how we language. We never say breathe out, breathe in. We say breathe in and then breathe out. It's all circular. And that's just how the rules of the universe work. So if you're not following the rules of the universe, you're just blocking your own good. Now, Brooke and Matt came up with a new phrase that has become one of my recent favorites in my everyday language. Brooke said that they were on the way here, running a little bit late one morning, and they were talking about the parking lot being full, and Matt was worried, and Brooke was like, no, I get parking spaces. And then he's like, yeah, but we're not going to get a parking space. And she says, well, quit God blocking, will you? And of course they got parking. And it's one of my favorites now is this God blocking thing, because it's really about how we decide to play the game of our life. It's all about that. So who's watching the Broncos this year? Nothing. Okay, fair number. All right, well, you'll be able to keep up anyway, don't worry. I always explain everything, you know. So there's something about the Broncos this year that's been very interesting, including Peyton Manning, who's, you know, the quarterback for those of you who aren't into football. But I've noticed something really different about how they're playing the game this year. Now, first of all, let's talk about Peyton. He is this guy who's not supposed to be playing football anymore. He got hurt, he's too old, all that stuff. And he is fully doing what he loves and living full on. And most of the time, you know, when he's out there, he has this sort of cranky demeanor. But every once in a while, you just catch this little grin, and you know that he is just loving every minute of his life. But he was hurt, and he's too old. And he decided, you know what? None of that's playing for me. None of that's going to play for me. I am still in the game. I might have to change teams. I might have to move. I might have to lead a whole new group of people. But this is my dream, and I am still in. So the universe aligns. His shoulder heals. He can throw. Let's face it. He gets called to play in one of the best cities in the world, you know, right here in Colorado. He lands with a team that will allow him the space to lead. Because while it appears at first glance that his gift is his ability to throw a football, his gift is actually the ability to see the large picture of what's going on around him and to adjust in moment by momentness and respond to what's happening. But the thing that I've really noticed is, you know, normally in football, no matter how good they are, the quarterback spends a lot of time on their butt. Have you noticed that? like even if they get the ball off, they spend a lot of time on their butt. And that's not happening to Peyton. Now, and it's not because he's fast, he's old. 38, whatever. There's a road we will not go down yet. I don't know what they found to motivate the front line of that group of men, but he rarely gets touched, let alone knocked to the ground. But what I would love to have a conversation with him actually after coming up with this talk. I think that he probably doesn't spend a whole lot of time before every game thinking about how old he is, or thinking about his shoulder injury, or thinking about getting hit. My hunch is that he spends his time thinking about winning. And he thinks, he probably never really thinks about getting sacked. He thinks about how to use the time that he has behind that line, and how to be the most effective in that time and space that he has. And so this group of people spreads out in front of him every single time he touches the ball, and they move all of the obstacles and all of the distractions and all of the impediments to his joy out of his way and away from him. And I think, wow, okay, well, so there's two ways to think about God blocking. One is when I get my own doubts and my own fears in the way, when I sit there and I say, that's not possible. That's not possible. I don't know what's possible, but I know that's not possible. That's God blocking and not letting God have your back at all. The other is when I say, yes, I'm going to honor my skills and my talents and my dreams, and I am going to stay in the flow of good and God, and I'm going to do my practice, and then you watch, and allow that presence to just sweep out in front of you in this beautiful wave of energy. Now, those of you who caught the week that we did the E² experiment with the weird hanger thing, when you think good thoughts, it moved like this. It was very weird, totally woo-woo, but it worked. And so positive energy moves around you like this. And I imagine sometimes, I did this meditation one time, it was wonderful, where you imagine your reach, the energy around you, the positive energy around you, as 6 stories out from either side and in front, and moving through your heart in front of you and behind you, and then down and up. And that sphere of influence is your ability to create positive in the world. When we are fully engaged and fully committed and present, we can feel that energy moving around us, totally. And so the question, it becomes, the conscious decision becomes, are we going to block God? Or are we going to let God block? We're going to let God block. Because it dawns on me that once Peyton has the ball in his hands, he's kind of seeing what's here. He knows that he's got this space, but this is not where his focus is. His focus is down the field, further away, looking to see who is looking at receivers. His total focus is on how he is going to deliver his gift. In this case, the ability to throw with a little bit of accuracy. His total focus is on who is available and ready to receive what he has to offer. And they are running to meet him. And because of that, people are ready. All of this, a metaphor, very simply, for the gifts of God flowing through you, moving forward with ease and grace as obstacles move out of the way, because your vision is downfield, looking for those who desire to share with you or receive what you have to offer. And they'll be an energetic match for you. They will be playing at a level that allows you to connect easily and to continue that forward motion. Now here's the other really important lesson that we can learn from Peyton this week. He is probably one of the best quarterbacks ever. He's breaking records every single week. He's paid millions of dollars to do what he loves. And we can all get into judgment about how we pay football players and versus school teachers and all of that. But the important thing I want to focus on right now, he gets paid millions of dollars to do what he loves. And isn't that, I mean, whatever your millions are, might not be millions, but whatever that is, isn't that the flow that we all want to be in, where we're doing and receiving good in exchange for what we do that we love? But the thing about Peyton in all of that is that he goes to practice every day. He goes to practice every day, and he works for the good of his entire team. He is not out there for himself. He is out there for the good of his entire team, and my hunch is that that's what motivates those people in front of him to keep him surrounded and to keep him safe. His vision is in action for the good of the whole. So Wallace Wattles, to try today, wrote, "Do not give your creative impulse to original substance or God, and then sit down and wait for results. You will never get them. Act now. There is never any time but now, and there will never be any time but now. If you are ever to begin to make ready for the reception of what you want, you must begin to act now." Now, everything that I have been reading and listening to speaks to this idea, pray and move. Spiritual practice first. That's how we, as Mary Morrissey puts it, we can write a check that the universe can cash in support of our dreams. We pray first and we see results. We meditate first and then we have more time. No one has time to meditate until they start to do it. It's just the way it is. Tithe first, and then, guess what? You can afford it. It's an amazing thing. I don't know why we get to go first. We just do. It is always the action of faith first, and the universe responds to that action in faith and says yes. Here it goes. And everything that I am reading also says this: make every interaction that you have with any person, place, or thing a moment of increase. Make every interaction you have with any other person a moment of increase, not for you, for both of you, but more so for the person in front of you. Use your gifts to bring an increase of knowledge, or an increase of joy, or an increase of money, or an increase of love, or an increase of whatever it is that is called forth from you as an individual inspiration and incarnation of the One. Show it to everyone. Show it to everyone. Let yourself be the person to whom people walk away from and feel better about themselves. No matter how small your time is together, make every moment a moment of increase. Now, last week I asked you for your homework to write down 10 things that you want to do, see, experience, feel, whatever it is that you want. And some of you might have done that. Some of you might have forgotten. What I'd like you to do while Laura is singing is to take that, we handed you a piece of paper as you came in. It's our Prosperity Pledge form because it's that time of the year. I would like you to write those 10 things on the back of that paper while Laura sings. She's got another beautiful song for us this morning. Oh, but you know what? I'm going to pray first. I know, you were waiting, huh? Sorry.
Just waiting for you to say.
Before you write, who wants prayer? Excellent. Just take that moment with me to go within. To find that silent, still space within you that knows where God is. That knows the presence of the divine moving through you, as you, in you, with you, around, filling up this space and all spaces, for there is no place that God is not. All activity, all mind, all action, all everything is the activity of God.